Welcome. A lot of women were taught that self abandonment was holiness. So, if we smile bigger, if we need less, if we doubt ourselves first, if we stay grateful, if we stay agreeable, stay exhausted. So, eventually, we get so disconnected from our own instincts that fear starts introducing itself as discernment. So, today's word of the week is healing, and I'm joined by Reverend Samantha Hasty for a conversation about spiritual scar tissue, self trust, religious conditioning, and what happens when smart women slowly stop believing themselves. So, this is the feral era for women over 40, where high achieving women come to stop origami folding themselves into smaller, quieter versions of who they are just to make everyone else more comfortable. Samantha, I have been looking forward to this conversation ever since I decided to start a podcast because for those of you that don't know, Samantha and I go way back. Like we're like OG. Like when I found my first queer church here in Indianapolis, she was a member there. And then even after we both decided that the patriarchy was disgusting there and to leave, we decided like, oh, we should do a podcast. And we had all these grand ideas, and then life got in the way. And so here we are, years later. It was meant to be.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Yes.
Yes.
It was always working towards this energetic goal of bringing us to this point. I believe that.
Exactly. So, let's just kick it off. So women are carrying around some spiritual scar tissue. They didn't even realize is shaping the decisions that they're making in their lives. So what do you see most often?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think a lot of women don't realize how much of our personalities have been shaped into survival mode. Like we don't even have a realization of what that is because we're so conditioned by religious systems to serve all the time, serve freely, serve gladly, serve abundantly, right?
Right.
But if you're a person of faith, if you are a Jesus freak, as I am, I really love this idea. But here's the thing that's not from Jesus. Like it's not. Jesus did not say, I came so you can serve. He said, I came that you may live and you may live abundantly. He didn't say he did say take up your cross, not serve unpaid as the church secretary. Right? And so like we get this idea, especially conditioned as women in religious settings, where we have to be what we do. And I am not what I do. I am me. I'm Samantha. I am a daughter of the creator of the universe. My intrinsic value is not in what I show up and can produce for you. It is simply in the fact that I exist. And that is lovable, and that is worthy, and that is good. And too many of us have wrapped up this idea that my faith, my identity, my value, my lovability is in how I give of myself just constantly. But that self-abandonment, it's no longer serving us, and it's actually destroying us.
And let's take a step back for a minute because you and I happen to be of the Jesus persuasion, but so much of what we're talking about is about spirituality in general, right? Like it can apply to people who are Jewish, who are Buddhists, who are Universalists, who are atheists, who are agnostics. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because a lot of people have maybe they were raised in the church and then they saw how it was weaponized. They saw how it wasn't really led with love or whatever. Like me, that happened to be my faith, but I just think we all deserve to have something bigger than us to believe in when shit gets hard.
Yeah.
And so then from that, I kind of feel like however the universe speaks to people, good, like I will trust them in that they are the leaders of their faith. And so, so I don't want us being like, Jesus is the way with like capital T, the. So talk a little bit about that just for people who are like, oh girl, she's starting off strong with the Jesus. So what would you say about that?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's why I always clarify. I do really like Jesus. Like I'm really passionate about living a life.
His people, not so much sometimes.
Listen, that is why I do not call myself the big C word that I'm clearly avoiding, right? Like, right? So it's
I would much rather be called the other C word, to be fair. So yeah, go ahead.
That's a good C word in my opinion. Anyway, all right. So we go from this place of thinking about it in this like very insulated, boxed in way, right? If we're growing in a religious setting, we think our religious setting is the religious setting, right? And so we come up with this context and this language that always is kind of giving us a way of where we're coming from.
Yeah.
In terms of our faith context. And so I think I can only speak to my context and I can only speak to my experience, right? But I know the message of intentional spiritual healing and the message of reality of spiritual abuse in all religious contexts is real.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter where we're all coming from to this conversation, whatever language we put on deity, God, Jesus, Buddha,
Blade of grass,
Hare
jar of
Krishna,
chunky
right, like,
peanut butter. Yeah, whatever it is.
like whatever. It literally is all good. It's
Yeah.
all good because here's the secret. It's all the same language that gets us to a higher creator that is trying to find us some meaning and purpose. That's all it is. And as long as we can filter through the details of each other's understanding to get to the bigger message, I think we have a conversation we can really have. And
Yeah.
that is where my heart goes from. So big fan of Jesus, don't need anyone else to be. It's totally fine. But with
Well, I
that,
also think like if our faith is like as strong as we claim it to be, if we are in Camp Jesus, like the dude does not need us as a bodyguard, you know? Like I think he's got that. Like how arrogant that, he's like, no, you must go out there and, like, no, it is so much easier. Like how much easier is it to just kind of just trust that people know themselves better than I do and
yes,
that, like that I just need to like love them where they're at.
that's it. I figure God has had better marketers than I could ever be. And God
Yeah.
will have way worse marketers than I could ever try.
Yeah.
So, as long as I'm not like screwing it up for anybody, we're doing okay. Oh
So what's a belief that you like had to personally like drag into the
my
parking lot and
gosh.
fight barehanded when it comes to like how this all interacts with identity and faith?
I had to give up saying the like things that were like the secret things. Like, you know how you kind of say, "Oh, I don't know if I feel like really easy about that. And I'm not sure if like, um, I'm trying to think, okay. Oh, I'm praying for caution. I'm praying for discernment. I'm praying for these things. And it's all just coded language, secret language for I'm too afraid to challenge the system.
Mm,
It is all about this idea that if I just fit in, if I just conform, if I'm just good enough today, if
mm,
I show up and say the exact right thing, people will see my value. They'll see that I deserve to be here too. And that's not ever going to happen. It's not. There is nothing I could say because I am a woman, I am a pastor, I am a mother, I'm a wife, I am queer. I'm all those things. They cannot be separated out from each
mm,
other. They just are me. But when I go into some of these places, I see that somehow I could say the right thing. And these men, these straight, white, cis men who run this big C church space are going to accept me. There's nothing I could say that will ever make them listen to me the way they listen to their own peers.
mm,
They'll never see me as their peer. I have to give up that belief because it does not serve me.
mhm.
And it keeps me from serving the community I am actually here to serve.
Right.
Because those people, the people I know that I'm supposed to work with, the people who are healing intentionally from spiritual trauma, religious abuse, they're not sitting in those pews. So why
Mhm,
am I trying to talk to them? I'm a public pastor because church cannot hold the truth of what we are here to say.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I remember a number of years ago. I think sometimes when people just know me as this little person in the box, that they don't say, "Oh, that is a chronically ill person who walks with a cane because she's a human weeble wobble and will fall over." Like they don't necessarily get to see that version of me. And a
Yes.
number of years ago, I was traveling for work, and this woman came running up to me in the airport, and she was like, "Can I pray for you?"
Mm.
Like because I was walking with a freaking cane. And I'm like, bitch, like, how do you know that this isn't the way I'm supposed to be walking with God? Like, whatever. Like, the amount of arrogance that we take on by filtering other people's stories through our own needs is just redonkulous.
Mm,
So I
mm,
think we're all, like part of me being at peace. I mean, if I'm being truthful in my world, like me becoming disabled made me so much more grateful for what the hell my body could do.
yeah.
Like I no longer like I was able to separate my vessel from my soul and my identity. And for people, you and I both love the queer community, and I think that like right now there's so much crap right now about trans people just being like marginalized and being like, you're looking at the wrong 1%, baby. But whatever, like, I loved how Pastor Jeff said, like, blessed are those who have the courage to modify their outer temporary vessels to better align with their inner forever souls. Like, to me, that was like one of the best takeaways he ever said standing up there at the church. So, but I think that all of that comes back to that self-abandonment piece, where we are taught to confuse self-abandonment with goodness. So how do you start untangling that without feeling like the bad guy?
I think we have to recognize that the reason it's hard to untangle it is because we have been trained. I think a lot of people use the word conditioned because like that's the word, but I think we're not really understanding what it
I was
means.
standing around like Pavlov's dogs, like,
Yes, yes,
I'm
that's literally
salivate. Yeah.
we're conditioned, sure. But
Sure.
like let's make the visual really real. Trained. You were trained like a dog. It was beaten into you. It was beaten out of you. It was instilled in you, something that was not natural. To be more committed to the dysfunction of the system of theology, the system of the church, the system of the patriarchy, the system of the family umbrella, like whatever theological terms we want to go down that rabbit hole
The
with.
spiritual cookie cutter,
Yes,
rather than knowing that like there are so many gifts that you would limit yourself to if you tried to be inside that cookie cutter.
that's it. But each one of us, born with this unique way of understanding the world, we're molded to fit into a space that they could control us in. And each time we take a step out of that space, our nervous system is going to start freaking the freak out,
Right.
right?
The tiger is eating your face.
No, because we're committed. Our nervous system is committed to that dysfunction. It can't
Oh
even
yeah.
understand that we are trying to take steps towards peace,
Yeah.
towards healing. And so while we're on this journey, we think, oh my gosh, I'm making all of the wrong decisions heading towards this or going down this path. But in reality, that is you stretching out of what that nervous system can understand and pulling yourself to an actual place of peace.
Yeah.
Not controlled, not trained, fully you, fully in alignment with that shadow self, that inner critic that's like all the time.
Yeah.
That is not God talking. That is your trainers.
So talk a little bit about that. What's something people call discernment that's actually just like fear in a church outfit?
Oh my gosh, right? It's any time we find ourselves saying like, "Oh my gosh, I just need to stop and pray instead of making a decision right now," even though your whole body knows what the right decision is. It's that moment of not trusting that own self.
Mm.
Your body knows what it needs. Even if it's a fleeting thought, because you are so well groomed for the position you're in the life that you have. You are. They
Well,
have
and it's like so much more
capacity.
efficient, right? We don't need to be
Yes.
gaslit or pressured from outside when it becomes a like self-fulfilling, like, it's on automatic pilot. So I love that we're like, what is on automatic pilot? That we're like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Every time we take a step off of, I used to train foster parents, and it was just the best job ever. But the way I kind of used to explain it to them, it is like walking through a beautiful forest, your brain. It has so much going on. There's so much to see. It's so great. But there are dangers. And just because the path is well worn doesn't mean it's not the most dangerous path you can take.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to go off the path to establish a new way of being.
Mm. Why do so many smart, intuitive women start distrusting themselves inside religious systems? Like, at what point does just having faith become just abandoning your own instincts?
Oh my gosh. The system is set up to ask you to abandon yourself. It will not do it on day one. If you were raised in it, you can't even tell that's being what's being asked of you. Honestly,
Mm,
you literally cannot tell the difference because it is so ingrained in you to be of service in this space,
mm.
especially as AFAB, assigned female at birth, or DFAB, designated female at birth. We just are given all of this to carry, and because the system is set up for it, it's not always the men you'll hear it from, it's the other women who will tell you this is your
Oh, yeah.
responsibility and you
Right.
should do it.
Internalized misogyny is real.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so the whole system. So it's not you. You're not if you sit there and go, I don't know if this is right. The whole system, everyone involved is set up to squash that question, to
Right.
squash that feeling in you.
Yep.
They are everybody from your parent to your friends to your pastors to the deacons to every single person
Mm,
is set up to keep you here. So anytime you are trying to step out of it, anytime you're trying to not abandon yourself, ask discerning questions, really wonder like, am I living the life I am called to live, right? Like whatever that is,
mhm,
as a person who's not enslaved to their spouse, as a person who is free to be, as a person who is free to pursue whatever career they want, parenthood, however they picture it, whatever that is, anytime it's not confined to the box that this system has established as good and right,
mhm.
you are bucking them and they will receive that as a threat.
Right.
Have
Because
to
they don't want change either. Just
that
like our nervous system, we're triggering their nervous system and be like, different is bad. Even if it's happiness, even if
absolutely.
it's joy, different is bad. And so, like, our nervous systems and brains are very creative at figuring out how to self-sabotage that stuff.
That's it. And that's the reason why one of the first things I will ask my clients when I meet with my clients one on one or I do group sessions, I will teach them the first thing to ask is who benefits when I believe fill in the blank.
Mhm,
Ask it every time. Ask it at your job, ask it in your relationships, ask it in your spiritual settings.
mhm.
Who benefits when I believe that I should be
Yep,
of service to the church right now? Who
yep.
benefits when I believe I should be the one who cooks dinner every single night? Who benefits? And here's the thing sometimes it will be other people, and that's totally fine. But the answer should always be it benefits me. And if
Mhm,
it doesn't benefit me, question why you should really be doing it. Because anytime the system, individual people, system as a
mhm.
whole, whatever it might be, is asking you to give into them, to agree with them. And the answer is it does me no good and it does them all of the good to give them power, control, say so, whatever.
Right.
Question why they want that over you. Because
Mhm.
if we're not questioning it, then they get to have all of the say so and we get nothing. And that's
Yeah.
where self abandonment is actually able to be stopped, is when we're willing to pause and say, wait, who's benefiting if I do that thing? Or if I believe that thing? Or if I
Mhm.
become that thing? Who
I
benefits?
love that framing because for me, that is a much smarter cousin to the "Who told you that?"
Yeah.
Because I think that's where a lot of, like, the coaching conversations start is, like, people will say something that they think is true, and if we go to, like, the Brooke Castillo CTFAR, circumstances, thoughts, feelings, actions, whatever, like,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
know, like, that we have these stories, and for me, framing everything as a story
Mm,
became such an emotional game changer. It
yeah.
became the type where I could stay emotionally neutral and just like be creative again and just being like, oh, like it's just chess pieces. It's just checkers on a board. It's Monopoly tokens, whatever it is. Like if I think of everything as a story, yes, there are certain facts that are non-negotiable, but large majority of everything that we're like struggling with aren't the circumstances, it's the thoughts and the feelings that we assign to them. And
That's
so if I know that I get to be creative and play granimals and switch out the thoughts and switch out the feelings, like that is so cool. And and what I don't want is somebody then who realizes they had ownership and that they were like complicit in that nasty story that didn't serve them, because at some point believing that story served them. At
yes.
some point, believing that made them know, like, this is who you need. This is who you needed to be at the time. And
Yeah.
it's okay to come at those previous versions of us with gratitude instead of shame.
That's it. We've all played into the system.
Mm,
We all have a history of benefiting from these systems we've been part of. If we didn't, it'd be easier to leave.
for sure.
It'd be easier to walk away and be like, "Oh, I don't get anything out of it. Doesn't serve me. I don't find any joy in it. I don't like any of these people." Like, it'd be like, "Oh, I can just walk away anytime." But that's not life.
Yeah.
If you married into it, if you grew up into it, these religious systems are set up to become your whole world.
Mm,
They become your social community, they become your family, they become every aspect of it. If you have kids in it, that their activities, there's so many activities, right? Like it's like you're
yeah.
just kind of constantly ingratiated into this system. And so
Yeah.
walking away is a journey, and you don't have to do it alone. And that really is the key, is
Mm,
finding those safer spaces where you can heal, you can ask questions, you can challenge what is being said, right? Because until we can do that, we can't really figure out what it is that's mine
mhm.
versus what's been trained into me.
Mm. Wow. Samantha, thank you for bringing so much humanity and honesty and wonderfulness and magic to this conversation. So
You're
this
the
has
friggin'
been
best.
great. So this has been the Feral Era for Women Over 40 with Kirsten Bombdiggity. Next week, come on back and we'll have another fast and furious and funny conversation and let's become ourselves on purpose. So,
Amen.
amen. Thanks, Samantha.
Bye, friend.